This phrase, AHAM VIMARSHA, has been echoing inside. It's a phrase in the tradition. AHAM, I am. The I am consciousness. It's sometimes called Purno Ham, the perfectly fulfilled I am consciousness. Vimarsha is the condition of that consciousness living as its own reality of absolute consciousness. Consciousness that is conscious of itself as absoluteness. Aham Vimarsha. How can I open my own awareness, my own experience in life to this reality? We've posed this question 10,000 times. It does not suffice, we say again and again, to merely discuss such esoteric matters from a philosophical perspective. They must contain some element of upaya, of the fundamental method by means of which such a reality becomes accessible experientially and comprehensible intellectually. It becomes intimate to life itself. It isn't just some rarefied, barely understandable teaching that sometimes we feel we recognize the truth of, and other times we totally forget. It must be that this reality, this condition of absoluteness, having permitted everything else to arise, having permitted the arising of the individual life wave, must have shaped some form of the journey of return back to the absolute, opening to the sacred depths within, we say. This is our understanding of our practice of Neelakantha meditation as the stamba or central pillar of the sadhana brought forward by this most extraordinary tradition, the Shakta Shaiva tradition of medieval India, particularly of Kashmir, although it was located in many other geographical areas of India and indeed of South Asia, Southeast Asia as well, over 1,000 years ago. What is that instrument, vehicle, or tool by means of which then awareness can dive deep within itself and locate the sacred depths within? Sometimes when people hear things about diving deep within, and then the person within their sphere of experience in life says, oh yes, I dive deep into my own thoughts, into my own emotions, into my memories, into my own mind. And there I experience and think about many things and I contemplate very deeply and so on. And we say, yes, all of that is useful and interesting. It's also natural to life that as human beings, we continuously survey the inner landscape of our individuality. But when we talk about diving deep into the sacred depths within, we're not talking about an investigation of our individuality, of the shapes and forms and contours of our own thoughts, memories, emotions, feelings, impulses, desires, and so on. The tradition is speaking of something else. How do we allow attention to move beyond all of the structures that ordinarily feature in our life experience as an individual? As we use this metaphor, this nyaya, the individual life wave, how do we go beyond that? And then even someone might say, oh, I've heard that, yes, there are these practices that you then can experience and understand and locate the inner mechanism and machinery that gives rise to your individuality. And we say, well, yes, we will traverse the territory of what we often call in our teaching the prior originating matrix, the deposit of samskaras, the residual traces of the past within, of past experience within. We could say the vault of the past inscribed in the subtle fabric still of our individuality. So we will move through that. And there are many, many deposits of that past, different places. We could even imagine big crates. One of them could be labeled the box of all of our dreams that we've had. Many times in meditation, you're moving through these subtle locations and you will then remember not just the dream from the evening or the night before, but even sequences of dreams or repetitive dreams or vision dreams or whatever, and stir the memory of that in your awareness. Other times we remember past events, circumstances that we've lived. Our memory reanimates within us the experiences of our past, and they stir up inside, sometimes bringing up emotions, feelings, perhaps positive feelings. We remember beautiful things that have a certain kind of poignancy because they're long gone now, or we remember difficult things, painful things that stir up emotions during our meditation practice. And we say, yes, that field of the prior originating matrix, where the mechanisms of the subtle interact with each other to structure the surface moment by moment awareness, that is certainly part of what we traverse in this introversive movement of our deep meditation. But that's not either our ultimate goal. Say, what is the transcendental, unbounded source of all of that? Where has all of that arisen from? And the person says, well, now you're asking questions that I have no idea about. I have no knowledge of that. How would I know about that? And we say, yes, this is precisely the point. The great masters of the mantra, marga, offered us this understanding. And what is there present in your awareness is a kind of synesthesia of a throb, a pulsation, even a luminosity, a sensation, a deep intensity, a presence of aliveness, of the potency of consciousness that is yet potently active within and is drawing your attention into silence, bringing to an end even the wispiest remnants of the thought processes, the memories, the different fluctuations, the chittavrittis are all temporarily subsiding. They are being magnetized into this subsidence, the nirodha of the Yoga Sutra, the subsiding of all of that. Then what remains is this exquisiteness of the divine Shakti, allowing and permitting this prevailing and persistent condition of inner silence. And that silence itself has many levels to it. The piercing and deepening into the innermost silent spaces of our individuality, where indeed our awareness registers and is alive, is conscious of itself, such that eventually the place of AHAM VIMARSHA, where your individuality melts into absoluteness, where your individual life wave subsides into oceanic universality, and where in that place, the grasping, we say the self-referential, self-encompassing totality of consciousness, conscious of its own existence as absolute, silent, beyond any form of verbalization or conceptualization or activity in the awareness field temporarily. We settle, the tradition tells us, into this venerable and magnificent fourth state of consciousness, the Turiya state. And in that silence, then, we enact, we stand in and as this place of AHAM VIMARSHA, what is being encompassed or apprehended in the field of our awareness is no longer anything relative or anything that has any form to it, any particular characteristic of separateness. There is this condition of mystical fusion. The tradition, the Shakta Shaiva tradition has this beautiful word, samarasya. Samarasya. It means mystical fusion into transcendental silence, ecstatic in its character, beyond any form of separateness or individuality, and self-embracing, self-encompassing, laying open to our inner experience, then the deepest place of identity within ourselves. And we say that domain to be the destination of our deep meditation practice, such that gradually, day by day, as we practice our Neelakantha meditation, whatever obstacles there may be within ourselves that disallow or impede or in a certain sense contract or make impossible our entry into that domain, those obstacles should go. And they are going, they are being removed, they are being dissolved, they are being neutralized, they are being burned in the fire of meditation, such that then we begin to catch glimpses of something extraordinary within ourselves. Even to speak about these things, this has been something that I've pondered all of my life, how to adequately express the exquisite, indescribable brightness of that light and luminosity of the absolute consciousness, how to convey in some way its character, its quality, its fascination, how it draws us in yet ever deeper into its infinite vastness. There is a paradox. We can't do it because we're using words, concepts, and ideas to describe that which is utterly beyond anything but, yes, the supreme word of the absolute, and is beyond any form of ordinary or even subtle conceptualization, ideation, and separative active understanding. It is a paradoxical state of life itself that lays bare the most intimate heart of our being, of existence, of life itself. And as we daily do our practice of Neelakantha meditation and so many other beautiful practices in our coherent sadhana that we have, then little by little, in a way that sometimes we just don't even register, we begin to catch glimpses, and then steadier glimpses, and then more persistent states of abiding in that unbounded silence. And then after a while, it becomes the destination of each meditation practice. We sit for meditation and glide into that welcoming embrace of the absolute and steep and steadily abide and absorb that. And we are transformed, radically transformed by that daily nourishment, that fulfillment, that absorbing of that into our individual life wave. There is nothing static or inert about it. There is something fundamentally alive that sets in motion an operation of radical transformation in our life and continues the process by means of which we will be able to live increasingly that reality, even when we're not in meditation, even when our awareness is active, our body is active, our mind is active, the imprint, the steady presence, the ineradicable establishment of that condition. In this way, we are traversing a mystical path of radical transformation, which yet eventually we will understand. It will always be mystical, but yet there will be a deeper and clearer understanding of this that is not yet fully present. And again, it isn't a question of believing any of this or simply or merely holding it as a doctrine or a dogma or a philosophical assertion or a kind of emotional allegiance to a teaching that somehow resonates with us. It is a question of living all of this, living the depths, the sacred depths in our life, and inviting that to work its extraordinary magic in our life.